Oh, yes. I feel like someone was referencing this. It's not Degas. It's my art history is blanking. Goya, thank you. Knew there was a G in there. Yeah, Saturn devours his son. And there are lots of really classical pieces of art like this, right? Very bloody, very gory, and we consider them objectively, right? Objectively, however you're going to use that word, in the traditional sense or the feminist sense, right? These are considered objectively beautiful pieces of art, right? Would anyone disagree? Does anyone think that the Goya piece is not beautiful? That it's ugly? Can anyone think of an example of something that's ugly, traditionally considered beautiful? You're like, I don't know why everyone thinks that's beautiful. Or are we all part of the 75%? Do we all agree with what everyone else thinks is beautiful? Yeah. Often the biblical ones, for sure. You like this one, but what? Banana taped to a wall is ugly. All right, let's find it. Yeah, it's not even a very good looking banana. It's an ugly piece of duct tape. Yeah, I would not say that that's beautiful. So maybe here's another question. Does art even need to be beautiful? Can something be considered art without it being beautiful? Yes, right? So maybe there's even this, as much as beauty ends up being something that ends up correlating into our discussion of art, there's almost a sense in which they can come apart as well, right? Something could be considered art even if it's not beautiful, right? Yes, because it's still invoking some sort of emotion. Good, right? So we're tapping into some sort of relationship between the object itself and the person, right? And trying to capture the nature of that experience such that we can distinguish meaningfully, right, between things that are art, aren't, are beautiful, aren't, right, and what we mean by those things. Okay, so this leads into other questions, right? Can art be a source of truth or knowledge, right? A lot of people, you know, they use art as a form of therapy, right? An expression of trauma, a way of sharing lived experience, right? So again, if there is something objective in the object or in that relationship between the object and the observer, can we say that that's going to be something that the artist can intentionally direct, right? Is it something that can give truth, actual knowledge about the way the world is, right? Because if it's totally subjective, then it's not really telling us anything about the world. Maybe it's just telling us something about ourselves, right? But if it's telling us some truth about the world, then maybe there is something objective in it that we have to account for. And then does the perception of beauty have anything to do with moral concerns? Surely it has in the past, right? Oftentimes the things that were depicted as beautiful were the things that were associated with what was good, right? And things that are depicted as ugly are associated with things that are bad. Artemisia Gentileschi used her art to express her anger towards the men in her life. Yes, emotion is absolutely right. All types of emotions can be expressed through one's art. And so if there are going to be some sort of moral elements to that, right? What are the boundaries of this? And this even goes back to our conversation about religion. There's a very famous, I think, someone peed on a cross as a piece of art, and I forget what it's like. Christ piss or something is the name of the piece. It's not very like it's pretty on the nose or something like this. but it was considered so disrespectful, right, to so many individuals, so many religious individuals, that it was not considered art by a lot of people, right? So if you are intentionally doing something immoral, even, right, that you're trying to do something out of protest or resistance, right, or hate, right, or disregard or a negative emotion, can that still be considered art? Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of art that is directed towards dysfunctional family relationships. That's probably most artists. Yeah, right. And then, so can some art objects be reasonably judged to be better than others? So here's I think the example that most people will align with, right? Is there an artist, a music artist that you really like that maybe you don't always advertise that you like, because you know that their music is not considered like classically good, or right, like maybe you're into, right, do we have any kind of sentiments like this, where, or do you ever disagree with your friends about the quality of the band? Who's the best artist? Well, I mean, is Radiohead objectively better than Taylor Swift? I'm sure people have strong opinions, and I'm sure they have reasons for those opinions, right? Yeah, definitely lots of arguments. Too different to compare. Yes, good. So maybe there needs to be some sort of analog between them, right? Something analogous, something similar. Okay, Mason, why? Why is Radiohead objectively better than Taylor Swift? Get ready, Swifties. Get ready to defend. Is that what they're called? Swifties? Well, I mean, someone could say, didn't the people in Radiohead go to like Oxford, and like they studied music? They're very technically gifted. I think Taylor Swift is a pretty talented musician as well, right? She plays a lot of instruments, I think, right? More complex. Okay, so we're looking at the complexity of the thing now, right? So there are all these different elements that we want to point to. So think about it.